Have we reached a point of building so many prisons that the purveyors are now looking for ways to keep them all full?
The concept of establishing justice has always been a major area of interest for implementing order in modern empires. We are concerned that the privatization of criminal justice in the United States will put the focus on economic benefits over the well-being of its citizens.
The private prison corporations could very well be unjust in themselves.
Now, if you've got 5,000 people in your cage and you're being paid $30,000-$40,000 a year for them, that's a lot of money. And if you can, on top of that, use them as your private property, as chattel property that you can then make do work or produce things that you get paid for on top of that, what a great deal. Now, where I come from, when you transform a person into a piece of property, that's called slavery.
If you mean to tell me these people can make an unbiased decision whether or not, when you go to the parole board, whether to let their free labor go or not, of course they're going to say, oh yeah, hit them, give them 2 more years, hit.
So it is this immaculate conception and partnership between the private and the public sector to perpetuate the system of modern-day slavery.
In 1995, we took away college from the prison system, so these people can't come home with college degrees, so they're coming home worse than when they went in. So what you're really doing is you're really putting shit on pancakes calling it syrup.
ADC is one of the nation's largest private prison corporations. This is a clip from a commercial on their website.
Every workday, the Arizona Department of Corrections sends thousands of inmates to work throughout our communities. From our bustling metropolitan areas to our strong rural communities, inmates provide an inexpensive option for our government and private sector partners struggling to find ways to spend money wisely. Inmates perform a wide variety of labor, such as construction services, custodial work, and specialized crafts for our partners at an economical rate. Unlike most people, inmates go through a rigorous screening process every time they leave for work.
Yes, has more.
Hi.
Terry Lawson, Corrections Corporation Australia.
Good to meet you.
Recently, we developed a new machine, and it is actually designed to do penal searches. It is called the PC, or Pecker Checker.
People have said, it's happening in America, it must be positive, it's the private sector, let's just introduce it and see what happens. What we found in Australia is that the private sector has not promoted competition, it's promoted greater secrecy, it's promoted less flow of information. It's led to concealment.
The industry leaders are Tennessee-based CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, and the Boca Raton-based GEO Group, formerly Wackenhut. They routinely pay off legislators state by state, and they provide kickbacks for contracts. A recent report from the Institute on Money in State Politics reveals that during the 2002 and 2004 election cycles, private prison companies, directors, executives, and lobbyists gave $3.3 million to candidates and state political parties across 44 states. Colorado legislator Buffy McFadden wants to stop these practices.
The incentives are all perverse, and it operates on the backs of human beings. The longer they're locked up, the tougher we get, the more profits, and the better off these companies are.
Who's pushing private prisons? There is an intense lobby at the national level and at the state level of these corporations that make a profit off of bodies in cells, lobbying legislators for more bodies in cells.
They call it the prison industrial complex, and that's really what it is. It's a description of what Eisenhower was talking about 50 years ago, when he was talking about the military industrial complex.
The private prison industry got its start in the 1980s when the get tough on crime public sentiment was combined with the Reagan-era philosophy of pushing off government services onto the private sector. Mandatory sentencing resulted in an explosion in our prison population, and many more blacks than whites in our nation are jailed due in large part to the disparity in sentencing for crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. When the Democrats took control, this issue was put on the table and is getting bipartisan attention. Just like the criminal justice crackdown that was supposed to solve the issue of crime in America, what it's going to create is a whole new market in the private sector for a lot of people to make a lot of money. That's a very unhealthy idea, which distorts a very complex area of public policy that needs to be addressed.
Did you see this is the new director of the Department of Corrections?
Oh, nice to meet you.
How are you doing?
Malia Burkhardt.
Good.
We're talking about private prisons.
Oh, let me out of here. Let me out of here. I'll talk to you later.
Shameless.